Hi everyone, welcome. We're so glad that you could join us for today's session. I'm Caitlin Salvaria. I'm the president of the International Corrugated Packaging Foundation. Today's webinar presents an opportunity for you, our stakeholders, to dive deeper into the collaboration between ICPF and Project Learning Tree, an initiative of the Sustainable Forestry Initiative. Together, we're working to elevate packaging careers, promote environmental education resources, and spark interest in the next generation of our workforce, starting with current middle and high school students. The centerpiece of these efforts is our newly developed activity collection, Thinking Outside the Box. We're thrilled to introduce and unpack this resource with you today. It's been thoughtfully designed to build awareness of packaging's essential role in a sustainable future, while also opening doors for young people to explore career pathways in forestry and corrugated packaging. I'm delighted to introduce today's guest speakers from SFI and PLT team, Josh Brinkman, Vice President of Education, Rocco Saracina, Director of Strategic Partnerships, Anna Leirner, Senior Director of Professional Learning and PLT Products, and Mary Westland, Coordinator of Education Programs. Josh leads the education team at SFI, advancing Project Learning Tree's environmental education, forest literacy, and career pathways programs while growing the scale, reach, and impact of PLT. Rocco develops strategies and builds partnerships, advancing an appreciation for nature and enhancing connections among healthy communities to nature-based education, social and emotional wellness, and environmental conservation. Anna leads SFI's training and professional development courses and initiatives, including online learning, and Mary supports ongoing and new PLT program initiatives. This team has collaborated closely with ICPF and industry representatives over the past year. They're here to lend their expertise and walk us through how ICPF and PLT are partnering. By the end of today's webinar, you'll walk away with ready-to-use resources for community engagement to promote your company or packaging program, practical tools to bring corrugated packaging into classrooms near you, and a clear understanding of how this initiative links directly to the future of our industry. So thank you again for being here. Now I'll turn it over to Josh to get us started.
Great. Thanks, Caitlin. It is a pleasure to be here. Thanks, everyone, for joining on a Thursday. And we're going to get started with an activity just that we quickly try to do with almost any organization or group of people that we work with. And it's called a chat waterfall. And if you don't know what that means, I'll explain it here. But what I'd like you to do, and for everyone, PLT staff, as well as our guests and ICPF folks, to think about what one of your most vivid memories of being outdoors as a kid or a child is, and you type your answer into the chat, but don't press send. So just have it at the ready, and take a moment, think about it as I continue talking, and then when I tell you, we'll press send all at the same time, and then it'll sort of flow down the chat. So think about what your most vivid memory or one of your most vivid memories from the outdoors as a child is. And Rocco, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide, I'll keep talking as you all think. Um, so at SFI and PLT, we always want to acknowledge the work that we do and the lands that we stored and care for. And so it's important for us to share that the Sustainable Forestry Initiative's diverse team of staff and consultants live and work on the ancestral territories of many Indigenous nations, including from our offices on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin people in what is now Ottawa, Canada, Ontario, and the Nutchutchak and Piscataway people in present-day Washington, D.C. We are committed to building forest-focused collaborations that recognize and respect Indigenous peoples' rights, traditional knowledge, relationships with the land, enduring leadership in forest stewardship, and responsibilities to future generations. And I come to you all from the Ramaytush Ohlone land in Northern California. So hopefully you've all had a chance to both think and reflect on that childhood memory in the outdoors, and also to, if you chose to think about the Indigenous people on the lands in which you live. But at the count of three, what would be great is for everyone to share their outdoor memory. So on the count of three, get ready and press send. 1, 2, 3. I love it. I love it. So we've got swinging on swing sets, catching bugs, playing with neighborhood kids until the dark, open fields, stepping on dried leaves, camping with family members, running down logging roads. Ooh, winter sledding. Um, so that's great. So thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw riding bike and being at the beach too. So just if you think about those childhood memories, one of the things, even though sometimes it might feel far away from our daily work, is that the outdoors connects us all and it also grounds us. Um, but it also has real implications for the work that we do, especially those of us um, on this call. So with that, we want to introduce you to PLT and the work that we're doing with ICPF. So we're going to start a quick video to introduce you to PLT, and then we'll get going.
Think back to your first moments in nature. What were you doing? How did it make you feel? Connecting kids to nature has proven health benefits. It sparks curiosity and cultivates an appreciation for what forests need to stay healthy. Project Learning Tree provides a lifetime of learning through environmental education, forest literacy, and career pathways. Our award-winning activities are fun, hands-on, and get children outdoors. And as kids grow into young adults, we help them develop skills, networks, and experiences that can lead them to successful career paths in the forest and conservation sector. Through our programs, we're growing a future where all can value and benefit from healthy trees and forests. Visit plt.org to learn more.
All right, Rocco, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks, Josh. And I didn't have the chance to put my outdoor experience in the chat. I was too busy sharing slides and I don't have enough screens to be able to do it. But I'll just share that I'm not sure if mine is one from my childhood or if it's one from my own child's childhood now that I have a 5-year-old and a 13-month-old at home. And to me, that's my why. And it's why I do this work. It's why it's important to me. And I suspect that resonates with many of you. So I won't read these outcomes, but our goal for you today is to leave confident in explaining why sustainable fiber sourcing and production matters. And as Caitlin mentioned, we hope that you'll walk away with practical tools and strategies to lead engaging activities in your own communities to bring these ideas to life. So we'll start diving in with an introduction of PLT within the context of SFI. That'll be brief. Then we'll dive into thinking outside the box, the initiative that we have with ICPF. Next, we'll do an interactive exploration of PLT activities, which I promise will be fun, so stick around for it. And lastly, we'll touch on some of the ways that you can get involved. SFI operates across 4 pillars. We're focused our work around, or our work was founded rather, around advancing forest certification standards. And I'm aware that many ICPF partners have been longtime leaders in the forest certification space, as well as the work we do to advance outcomes in conservation, community, and education. Today, you'll be learning much more about how ICPF has been partnering with SFI to support environmental education and career pathways. SFI's mission is to advance sustainability through forest-focused collaboration. Though it's not listed here, our education goal is to advance environmental education, stewardship, and career pathways using trees and forests as windows on the world. And at PLT, we think of EE as a continuum that we're calling the lifetime of learning. So we develop education content for educators and community leaders to teach young people how to think about complex issues. We also support forest literacy with knowledge building frameworks and tools that advance understanding and appreciation of forests and sustainability. And lastly, we support career pathways through mentorship and resources that inspire entrance into forest and conservation careers, including the packaging sector. With that goal in mind, I'd like to share the definition of environmental education as offered by one of our key partners, the North American Association for Environmental Education. And I'll just give you a few moments of silence to read this. And while that definition might not seem tremendously complicated, there's actually a lot to unpack. EE helps a lot of different peoples and groups learn how to think about the world around them. EE is about skills building. It's not just about memorizing facts or even identifying trees. EE emphasizes that it's more important to understand how elements of ecosystems, economies, societies all interact and to think critically and make informed decisions about them. And perhaps above all, EE is a process. It represents a continuum. It does not take place over the course of any single day or any single classroom visit. So what are users of PLT saying? Here are a few different examples that I'd like to share. But in addition to the qualitative results that are shared here, research has consistently shown that nature-based and outdoor learning is more engaging, more fun, has socio-emotional and physical benefits in addition to positive learning outcomes. And we all see this and we all hear about it in the news, kids having eco-anxiety because they don't understand what's happening with climate science, or kids spending too much time in front of screens, not enough time outside. So EE is a way to get kids back outside, to appreciate being outside, and to find the joy that many of us have probably experienced throughout our lives. PLT educators and trainers aren't the only ones sharing positive remarks. PLT materials are award-winning. For instance, our flagship K-8 guide was selected as one of Kirkus Review's best indie books in 2021. Only 100 books make the list, and Kirkus reviews thousands of books each year through their indie program, and some other awards are shown as well. In addition to more traditional education resources, PLT has been developing a suite of green career exploration guides and tools. You can see our Green Jobs Guide here, which provides college and career preparation activities for learners 12 through 25 years old. It also works, and also our work with ICPF complements these materials by diving much deeper into the corrugated packaging sector. By exploring these careers and their facets earlier, we hope to inspire and increase the pipeline of young people entering into the sector. I think the idea being, if you don't know about a career, you're never gonna end up taking the pathway that would take you into entering it. So we're hoping to get people both, understanding the packaging sector, what its sustainability benefits are, and also to understand the very valuable jobs that are there, and the potential for having a valuable career in the sector. PLT is coming up on its 50th anniversary next year, but zooming in on just 2020 through present, our network of EE providers has trained over 45,000 educators across thousands of PD events. And using research student reach multipliers, we expect these individuals to educate over 8 million students across the coming years. So we have the scale to be able to reach a huge amount of young people across the country. And I could go on all day about PLT, but let's turn to our partnership with ICPF. In mid-2024, SFI and ICPF launched a partnership to advance understanding and excitement about the corrugated packaging sector among educators and young people. And we've approached this through a multifaceted strategy. That includes developing education materials, engaging professionals, and providing educator training. So now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Anna, to kick things off with the first of those.
Thanks, Rocco. Hi, everybody. It's very nice to have you here with us. Thank you for coming. Again, my name is Anna Leirner. I'm the Senior Director of Professional Development and Education Projects at PLT. And as my colleague Rocco, as well as Caitlin mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, we kicked off our collaboration, multi-year collaboration with ICPF through the development of this activity collection called Thinking Outside the Box. So Thinking Outside the Box, it's focused on sustainability aspects and concepts, as well as careers in the corrugated packaging. So as you can see here listed, we have 6 activities in this activity collection, and they're all targeted at students or educators working with students from grades K all the way to 12. As you see, there's only one activity for K to 2, but we actually have variations in all of activities, so that, for example, activities that are created for grades 3 to 5 can also be adapted to kids in grades K to 2 or 6 to 8 and so forth. So what is important for us to talk here is about the people who are trying to reach with this activity collection. So we talk about educators, but we talk about it very broadly. So when we talk about educators, people tend to think of classroom teachers, but we're going way beyond that. We're talking about classroom teachers, but we also talk about school counselors. We're talking about career coaches, youth leaders, and other non-formal educators working with youth. And as Rocco mentioned, if you don't see it, there's no way that you think you can be it. And so part of our strategy is always to start early with introduction to different careers so that people can take advantage of that way before they are actually thinking about what careers they're going to focus. So that's one of the best practices that we've learned through our work and that we try to incorporate into all of our products. And we're so grateful for ICPF to support that approach and allow us to create this K-12 guide. And so we started this activity collection with 6 of our PLT tried and true activities. So the activities have been developed and tested and piloted by educators, and we've continued to update them and improve them as we go. And we worked with ICPF staff, Caitlin and Alex, as well as their talent acquisition committee, to modify and customize these activities to the packaging, corrugated packaging industry. So we've updated the introduction of the guide so that includes information about the corrugated packaging, about careers in this industry. And also we modify the activities and the appendices. So it's not just a copy and paste. It was a lot of work to transform these activities to make it specific to the industry. And so here you see some of the customizations that we've made. As I mentioned, we made the connections to the packaging industry in multiple ways. We connected to STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And we also included facts from the field. So what is the difference between corrugated materials and packaging or cardboard, right? What is the difference between those two? We've added career corners highlighting careers in the corrugated packaging industry. And you'll see that in my next slide as well. As I mentioned, we did level variations to recommend alternative procedures for doing activities with younger or older audiences. And we also included connections to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So all activities are connected and to these goals and detail the relevance of this activity to sustainability. If we go to the next slide, these are some examples of how we customize the activities for the corrugated packaging industry. So the activities that we've created into this activity collection started with understanding what products are, like what our forest products are, what are the products that we use in our everyday lives that comes from forests and trees, and then passing through exploring forest-related careers. So the first student page that you see here, this is from my Green Future activity, and you see that we included careers that are specific to the corrugated packaging industry. So these were selected in collaboration with ICPF. And here in the bottom, you see the career corner. That's every student page has a career corner just like this, highlighting one of the 9 active careers that ICPF staff and talent acquisition committee decided was important to highlight. And so the next student page here is from our activity, What's in a Label, which you'll experience a variation in a few minutes when we go to our breakouts. So we customize this to make it specific to the corrugated packaging by modifying the activity to be focused on making a corrugated box instead of making a paper bag, which is the original. And you can see here, we have photos that are specific from the industry. And thank you so much for Caitlin and Alex to work with us to collect and make selection of the best photos for us to use throughout the guide. And again, the career corners you see here, this is focused on sales representatives, and we're gonna make that connection once again moving forward. And then the last student page you see is from our Seeking Sustainability activity, which explains the concept of sustainability and connects it to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So what you see here is on the left, on the left of the page, you see all the different Sustainable Development Goals listed. And on the right, students have to go on this discovery hunt to try to identify things that they do in their community to advance these goals, as well as what are potential connections with careers in packaging. And so these were some of the ways that we've modified it. My favorite one is actually not here, which is a variation of an activity, Peek at Packaging, in which students reflect on the pros and cons of different packaging and then design their ideal packaging. And this, my favorite variation came from as an input from Caitlin and Alex, which is like, why can't we do, like, can the students do like an egg drop where they put an egg inside a corrugated package and in another cardboard, and they just see like what happens if they drop the egg. And so that's one of my favorites. There are a lot of fun activities. All of our activities are very hands-on. As you see, it's always about thinking, but it's also about doing and how making an impact in the world around you. So moving to the next slide, as I mentioned, do you remember that career corners that I've mentioned that were in every student page? So we took each of these careers identified in the footer of the student page and created a fact sheet. So this is a job fact sheet. So we created 9 new career profiles. As you see here, this is from the maintenance technician, and it includes information about what the job is, what are the skills that are needed, soft and hard skills, what are the salary that they can expect from that career, how they can get started, or what's the career path for that. And we created 9 of these, again, in collaboration with ICPF and the Talent Acquisition Committee. And these are available on an appendix, which is Appendix A of the activity collection, and is also available for download for free on plt.org/workingforforests. And with that, let's see, one more slide. Yeah, with that, I'll pass the mic to Rocco to continue the presentation.
Thanks, Anna. Now that we've created these resources, we're actively working to get the word out and to get them into the hands of educators. And we're doing this in a couple of key ways. One is by engaging professionals like yourself through webinars, conferences, and other outreach, and the other is through educator professional development trainings. So for the educator professional development trainings, we're doing this in partnership with PLT's network of professional development providers, which spans the US and several international locations. So basically, we have MOUs with different, mostly nonprofit organizations across the country that have a mission to deliver EE professional development in the states that they operate. So in this first phase, we're offering workshops in Ohio, Arkansas, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, with the goal of training and equipping more than 100 educators through these events. And I think we'll probably reach much more than that. Where possible, we're placing these trainings in communities where ICPF partners operate. And you'll also have the opportunity to get involved either by joining one of the events or even by hosting one of them. And I'll share more on that towards the end of this presentation. But if you can't make it all the way to the end, please feel free to reach out to the ICPF team or to me directly, and we can talk about how you can be more involved. We've also launched an online toolkit where professionals can download Thinking Outside the Box for free. They can take a STEAM skill assessment, explore careers, and much more. And we're excited to note that we've actually had the first of these events already take place in Arkansas. So it was a tour that, it was an event that included a tour at an international paper facility. So a big thanks to IP for supporting the event. And it provided training for 24 educators. And I've included a couple pictures here and highlights from positive evaluation results. And I'd also like to share 2 quotes that aren't on the slide. One is from Holly Schultzman, a high school and career coach in the County Line Parish School District in Arkansas. Holly says, I really enjoyed this training, including the facility tour. And the training was a great experience, and it definitely gives me knowledge to take back to the classroom. And also another one from Kyle, who is a high school teacher in Hackett, Arkansas. He said, this very well could be the most important issue to teach future generations. And with that, I'll pass it back to Anna so we can get started with our demo of what's inside a label.
Awesome. Thank you, Rocco. So I'll give a heads up that we're doing this virtual adaptation where it's very hands-on. So we expect you to participate. We ask you to turn on your videos when we go into the breakouts. So if you're in a space that you need to move to a different space in order to be able to actively participate, feel free to do that now while I introduce the activity. And so this activity that we're doing, as I mentioned earlier, it's a virtual adaptation of what's in a label activity. And Rocco, if you can move to the next slide. This activity talks about the difference between certified and non-certified products. So it's a way for students to explore the difference and in real life, try to understand what does it actually mean to have something that is certified? How does that impact me and the world around me? And so we're not going to do the entire activity. We're doing a small part of it that focus on product certification. So if you go to the next slide, Rocco. So this is all about the chain of custody. And so we are going to explore how the flow, what is the flow of fiber coming from certified forest and recycled materials all the way to making it a paper bag. And so this is what we're going to do now. The breakouts are created. Let's see if I need to add. All right, we have 7 in each, and we're going to have 10 minutes for you to work with your team you're going to work together to put the steps of how do you make a paper bag. And so in the thinking outside the box activity collection, we've modified this to be how to make a cardboard box. But we thought it would be fun for you to experience what was the original activity so that you can then compare with what we did in the activity collection. So we're going to ask, once I put you in a group, I'm going to ask you to choose somebody to take the lead and directions on where to drag and drop the steps. Each team should have at least one SFI and PLT staff, as well as one ICPF staff that can guide you if you have any questions, and also put the link on the chat. And we'll come back after 10 minutes to discuss it. So with that, I am going to open all the rooms. I can get started. How was it? I know my group was racing against time to finish. What about the other group? Same?
Same. We were very, very close. Let me hide controls here. We were very close, but we needed a slight shift. So I can show the right order. So our group got super close, but we needed to shift the recycling process a little bit to line up with where the wood fiber would have gone into the stream to be a mix of fiber that's first coming to the forest and first time being used with the recycled pulp that was created.
Yeah, and our group, we needed to work on the circle here a little bit more. We had the pulp mix mixing before the recycling, and so just shifting things a little bit in the circle. It takes a few tries, but you all did great. Yay. So
Yeah,
I
and
want to, kick us off with the discussion.
sure, yeah. So we've got some time for discussion here. We only have a few more slides to finish up after this. So just to kick a few things off, if you were doing this in, let's say with a community group or with a bunch of young people at, one of your facilities or in the classroom or wherever it might be at a career fair, you could print out all of these, and often people will print them out, and then the young people that are doing the activity or the community members can manipulate it that way and kind of move things around. So that's what it would look like in real life. The other thing I'd say about it is like Anna mentioned, in the thinking outside the box guide, this has been shifted to instead of being a paper bag to be with a corrugated box. So it's a little bit more relevant to your sector. And some of the things I would think, like the ways that it can be useful is we kind of threw you in there, very lightly facilitated to be able to try to get the lineup to be correct. But one of the things you could do if you were with a group of people is you could start using it to talk about your work. You could use it to talk about, the sustainability aspects of what goes into your recycling, the materials that you procure from the forest to go into a box, or other aspects. So that's just one idea. But are there any other ideas of like, how could you use this to talk about the good work that you do and to get a young person excited? And I can share one more, which thinking outside the box starts to get at, which is that there are a lot of careers in the packaging sector, and it's not necessarily the things you would think. So it's not just, I think, stepping back from the packaging sector, when people think about forestry and natural resource careers, I think the first thing that many think about is being a boots on the ground forester. And what the sector, I mean, particularly in packaging or in creating paper, actually entails, or creating any product, is much, much more than that. There's people that are operating at the recycling facility. There are people that are operating, the machines that are rolling out the paper and then gluing it, folding it and gluing it into bags. And there's just such a breadth of different positions that we would all call sustainable and green careers. And not all of them require a degree, which I think is something that is exciting to some right now, and more relevant than ever with the cost of education and and what return you can potentially have trying to pursue an advanced degree as opposed to like a technical degree or just jumping right into a job right out of high school.
Rocco, one that comes to mind for me, and I remember having a conversation early with Caitlin and Alex about this, is the notion that sort of the flip side of what you also just spoke to, and especially in corrugating packaging, is that there's also this whole sort of artistic and design side, and it's represented here in sort of the work of the bag. But I think especially for the corrugated sector, packaging sector, this notion that you have these roles that are, yes, in forestry, yes, in sort of the production, yes, in the recycling, but you also have this significant set of careers in the design phase. And so that appeals perhaps to a different sort of mindset for young people or early stage career folks. And so you have sort of hands-on people, you have design and artistic people. So that breadth feels really important to highlight.
I can also add in that I think that this activity especially really showcases that circular economy piece. So I know you talked about sustainability, but like here's a great image to show today's youth, especially youth who cares about the planet and who, is very environmentally focused, showing them that our industry is based on this circular economy and has been always, because we use that recycled pulp and combine it with boxes, and how the average box has 52% recycled content. So really, we're kind of recycling champions, and it's a great opportunity to showcase that circular economy piece also.
Yeah, that's a great point, Caitlin. I mean, especially as I feel like Amazon is the organization that everyone points to for the I shouldn't say the proliferation of boxes, but certainly there are many people with Amazon boxes on their driveway in a way that you wouldn't have necessarily had 10 or 15 years ago, but the impact may not be as like there's a positive side to that work too. And and I also like to think about, this is probably for older youth audiences or community groups, is people might think, oh, well, there's all this packaging now. Well, things getting shipped to your house and packaging has an impact, but it's a different impact than things being housed inside a brick and mortar store that is cooling itself to 68 degrees all year round, or warming itself. Like everything has an impact. And so I think part of what is a positive thing in our economy and in our world is having industries that are moving more towards a circular economy. And so it's, just thinking about the wider sustainability implications of the packaging industry and the benefits that it has.
And one thing that I'll just say to conclude here, this part of the webinar. So we did a virtual adaptation, right? So in the actual guide, what they do, the students have pieces of paper that they put in the order. So it's more hands-on. It's not on the screen. Yeah, this should give you a good overview of what a part of the activity is. Again, this is a small part of the activity.
One thing that was really nice too, when Alex and I were able to sit in on a session with educators, the person that had cut them out had glued them to the back of boxes. And so it was a good chance for kids to look at the pieces of a box and kind of look at the different flutes and what goes into a box. So there's great ways to kind of add some creativity here when you're engaging with students to really kind of drive home that corrugated packaging piece.
Great. Well, we can move on. Here we are coming up with just 10 minutes left. The remainder of the event will be pretty quick though. So as I mentioned earlier, you have the chance to get involved in a few different ways. You or your staff or people across your organization that you think would be a great fit would be welcome to attend any of the trainings that we're putting on in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Georgia, and Arkansas. And in doing so, you'll get a copy of Thinking Outside the Box. I'm sure that we can manage to get you a copy if you'd like one otherwise as well. And it'll give you it'll be a deeper dive. It'll be kind of like what we did here, except will be one of those events would explore, more activities, more ways of using it, more adaptations, and it would give you some resources and ideas to be able to engage youth and community groups when you're talking about your work. Kind of the step up of engagement past that would be you're also invited to host an educator training. As I mentioned, the one that we had in Arkansas in July included a tour at an international paper facility. And so you're able to host events, or you can put your name in the hat to be able to host events and be able to showcase your work, to have facility tours that educators are able to attend, and you'd have the option to provide remarks at those events. And so it's a great way to help educators see what the sector has to offer firsthand. And it's potentially, whether you were just attending an event or you were actually trying to host one of them, it's a great chance to get to know people in your community and to potentially build relationships with educators. Educators all the time are looking for somebody to come for a guest presentation in the classroom to talk about their work, or even to have kids come out and visit a facility themselves. And so it's a good way to build goodwill and to be able to talk about your good work with both educators and potentially even students in the future. And lastly, I'd just like to say, if you wanted to be involved, but you fall outside the 4 states that we're listing here and that we're working with this year, please let us know. You can let the ICPF team know. You can let us know directly. I'll share all of our emails at the end. And we're always excited to explore what future engagement can look like. So if you're interested and you're not one of those states, or perhaps you have work across one of those states, but other states, we're happy to see what we can do there. And if this event has sparked your interest to learn more about PLT, you couldn't find a better place to do it than at our annual conference, which will take place March 23rd through 26th at the Arbor Day Farm in Nebraska next year. So wanted to share that save the date. I also wanted to invite you to consider joining the SFI conference, which spans the full breadth of SFI's work in our network. Caitlin was a speaker there last year, so she could tell you what she thought of it. And that event will take place May 5th through 7th in Montreal next year. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone again for taking the time. I've shared the contact info for me, Josh, and Anna. Mary's email follows the same convention there, so I don't have that on there. And we'd be happy to hang around to chat or for questions or anything else that can come up.
Yeah, and I just want to thank Caitlin and the ICPF team. They are true partners in this work. We are happy to work with them and extend this this effort to try to get our information and what you all are trying to do out to more audiences across the country. So really, from the bottom of our hearts, we really appreciate that work and this part.